The politics of Texas are in full campaign mode with 1 week down for early voting and 1 week to go. I'm Stephen Dial. Let's get started with your Fast Four. The border wall. After President Biden stopped new construction on the border wall, 1,700 wall panels were left over. The Texas Tribune reporting this week the federal government listed them as surplus, and the Texas Facilities Commission confirmed that the state has acquired the panels. They will be used in Governor Greg Abbott's plan to continue construction on the wall. The surplus will create a little more than a mile of fencing. Facebook lawsuit. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton sued Facebook over an alleged violation of the state's privacy protections by using facial recognition technology on users without their consent. Facebook's parent company, Meta, said the claims are without merit. Early voting. We are heading into the final week of early voting. The last day is February 25th. If you wanted to vote by mail, the deadline has already passed, so you will need to vote in person this week or on March 1st. Power grid. This week, we hit the 1-year anniversary of the deadly 2021 Texas winter storm. There were widespread power outages for days. A year later, there has been progress on the grid, with power plants having to winterize their equipment, but the new rules include vague language on enforcement and penalties. Energy experts say the law doesn't regulate the natural gas industry and says there are still vulnerabilities to the grid in extreme cold. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton's Republican opponents have been hammering him on his legal troubles and saying he's not fit for the job. In our Sunday conversation, we take a deeper look at the Republican primary for the Attorney General's race. Joining us is Chuck Lindell, reporter for the Austin American-Statesman, and Mark Davis, radio host for 660 AM The Answer. So Attorney General Ken Paxton has already gotten the endorsement from former President Donald Trump. His opponents, Land Commissioner George P. Bush, former Supreme Court Justice for Texas, Eva Guzman, and Congressman Louis Gohmert. Mark, who do you think is going to be the biggest threat to Ken Paxton in this primary election?
Recent polling suggests that maybe if you glom it all together and take some averages, and Ava's run a smart campaign, but with the money plus name recognition, right now I think it's a coin flip between Louis and George P, and maybe that gets determined in the very home stretch leading up to March 1st.
A lot of money being spent, a lot of campaign ads. I know they've been running ad nauseum here in North Texas. Chuck, who do you think could be that number two that could force a runoff?
I'm with Mark on this one. Polling suggests it could be George P. Eva Guzman is running a smart campaign, and Louis Gohmert's got name recognition. For a long time, we were thinking that maybe A.G. Paxton was going to win this thing outright. But recent polling, I worry about relying too much on polling. I think it's lazy journalism, but suggests that we might be seeing a runoff now.
What sets these candidates apart from Ken Paxton, Chuck?
What sets them apart, if you watch their campaigns, is they are not under FBI investigation. Attorney General Ken Paxton is, and all three of his opponents are making that a centerpiece, if not the centerpiece, of their challenge to the sitting Attorney General.
Here's the crazy thing that they all face. Every single one of them in a Republican primary has to admit that just about every week Paxton does something else that Republicans in Texas love. This past week, he and Congresswoman Beth Van Dyne get together to try to sue the CDC about getting rid of mask mandates on planes. It's another home run for Paxton. So what their job is to say, look, if you want those results without the baggage, without the attorneys saying I did terrible things, without anything else, if you want all positives and no negatives, go with me. That's a big ask, and we're about to find out if it works.
Mark, what role, if any, does the investigations, the cloud over Ken Paxton's head play?
The question is this: does that cloud, does that baggage cause anybody who loves you to jump off the train? Is there a large number of voters who have loved Paxton for years, loved him for the last couple of years, love what he does, but they take a look at this or that or the indictments or the FBI probe and they go, because of that, I'm gone? Is that a large number of people?
Chuck, what will be the headline March 1st?
This thing is up in the air, and anyone who tries to tell you differently is selling you something. I'm not selling you anything other than this is one of the premier races to watch in Texas because it will have an impact months and years down the road.
Whoever the primary winner is going to be the next attorney general. A lot of these folks are saying that Paxton is such damaged goods, we're going to get a Democrat attorney general. He didn't exactly win by a landslide versus Democrat 4 years ago, but it's hard to see in this still decidedly red state how a Democrat wins for AG or actually any other statewide office right now.
Remember, you can always get the latest political news on our website, fox4news.com. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week for another edition of The Politics of Texas.